I believe design thinking made me a better lighting designer. I'm gonna show you examples of how I integrate design thinking in my practice and how we use it as part of our culture and to design projects together with our customers. My career in design started as an interior architect. I wanted to know how to shape spaces and understand these. Working in the field, I, however, discovered that it wasn't really just about a space, but really creating emotions, creating a setting. So that brought me to lighting design. Combining these two fields then made me understand how we could create a visual experience and shape a setting in a surrounding. Being a lighting designer, the interface with our user, it is perception. But where in all this process of design does the user come in? In this process, it's really, these design disciplines can foster innovation, push technology forward, but in all this, the user is not present. That brought me to design thinking. Design thinking is now a core part of our practice. However, I actually don't communicate so often that I use design thinking. I feel it's often a buzzword, wrongly used at the wrong moment. I rather use it than saying that I use it to everybody. I do it with the customers and with the stakeholders without starting to explain what is design thinking in the first place. So at the same time, besides my practice as a lighting designer, I teach at the HPID school where I support projects that are surrounding spatial awareness or spatial challenges. Let me show you what our process as a design thinker in a lighting practice looks like. There are different models out there. This is the one that I think reflects our process the most. 4 steps. It's an iterative process that first goes for broad ideas, many ideas, wild ideas, and then focuses step by step. The further you get in the process and the more you discover about the user and their needs. Understanding, that is for us a 360 degrees research. Looking at the site, speaking to the users of the site. The customer and the user are not always the same people. So really getting an overview of the stakeholders, getting inspiration from projects that have already been done. Then explore, where are your fields of opportunity? In which direction could this project go to? Prototype, really making things tangible as a communication method within our team and with the users of the space. And then evaluate, is this working, yes or no? So let me give you an example. You see here an average street. We see lots of cars parked, unused. For the city, definitely a problem. It is standing around, not particularly beautification to the urban environment, and definitely we're running out of space to put them all. We spoke to people, car owners, who said that almost 80% of their time, their cars are waiting to be used. An underused resource that costs them money, and that takes up space in our cities. As a lighting designer, I even see more. I see spill light on the facades of the houses, entering the homes of the people. I see light that is more car-centered than human-centered, designed for these vehicles passing by, but not directly creating the atmosphere we always want to be in. So combining these, we wondered, what if? This was a project done in 2011. We wondered, what if there's car sharing? What if there are electrical vehicles? And in 2011, it was just a start. And we said, if there's designating parking lots for these electrical vehicles, then what if they become our street lighting? With that, we lower the light to a more human level, we spread it out and bring it to the people where it's needed, both for the street and the cars and for the people. Because often, actually, lighting calculations are not done with the cars in there. So even the way we develop these strategies or set down the norms are not taking the user into account. Yeah, let's have a look at the stakeholders here. The city doesn't have to do so much maintenance on the street poles. The car owner can generate money by offering their car to the grid. The people have soft glowing light all over the place and not spill light. So that's actually something that reduces light pollution. In this project, we questioned the status quo. Light. When we think of it, we often think as it being something very functional, as something that enables us to see. We only notice light when it's either hazardous, too bright, or too dark. As a lighting designer, we believe that lighting is about creating a visual surrounding, helping us to navigate and see the space. It is an integral part of architecture. And it's about creating an atmosphere, a setting, and an emotional reaction within the user. It's a quality concept based on perceptual needs. So thus, it is about creating desirable places for our urban environment. So here we went again. We were thinking, where in our cities do we see either unpleasant to dark or to bright spaces? And we came to parks. Here, our user that we defined for the project is Lisa. Lisa lives close to a park in Berlin. The quickest way to her home would be crossing this park. However, it just doesn't feel safe enough. It is dark. You rather go around and take the long way instead of maybe bouncing into somebody that rather looks scary. So we found that there's a correlation between light and safety, an indirect correlation between them. Light generates safety or gives Lisa safety when she's alone. So there's this need for a lot of light. However, the same park, visited with friends, is a whole different setting. There she wants a low light setting. She doesn't want to feel like this light from above, like it's surveilling her, or like a surveillance situation. She rather wants cozy light to hang around and be in a social environment. So this concept is based on two principles. We called it the crowd darkening correlation. On the one hand, when you're alone, you have a lot of light. When you're with a group, you have the group to support you and you want more, a lower light at a lower level coming from a different angle. So these two principles combined, of course, as well, thinking of the smart grid and how light is getting more and more connected these days, this is something which we could imagine for the future. This project won the social lighting competition in 2013 for its human scale, for its intervention in a human scale, and a bit more poetic instead of just pure functional lighting. So in this project, it was about defining the user, understanding the user's needs, and again, questioning the status quo. From parks to lighting master plans. The city of Tartu is the second biggest city in Estonia, the university hub. The city realized they have a problem with their lighting, but didn't know how to change it or how to approach it. So we went there and we walked through the city together with the city authorities and the city architect to find certain spots where we thought here is really an intervention needed. Let it be the cathedral ruin or the city square left in the dark or left without people in a university city, rather rare. Too often we see the part of design research and design-led research in the build industry neglected. Yeah, it's just maybe a small thing, or we'll just do it as we did it before. we said that we are going to do this entirely different and question the way we start the design process for this city. So we designed a prototyping festival, a lab where we do design-led research, aka a lighting festival with workshops. So we invited 5 designers and 30 students to build one-to-one prototypes in a week's time, in Tartu. This is the result. The cathedral became a poetic place. Small rainbows all over, a place you want to go and see and discover together with your friends. The city square reminds of a place where people like to meet. Yeah, an elderly couple or a place to dance. It connects to the statue in the center. So there we had large-scale prototypes for the government, the stakeholders of the city to walk through. You know, suddenly this risk of starting a new master plan was like not so daunting anymore. They could imagine how it could look like with new lights. The citizens could see what light could do for their city and how it could change their environment and their identity as a city as well. So it works on many levels. Now the city is realizing one of our projects. This we did in 2016, and we're planning a next prototyping festival in 2018 in Tartu again. We identified 3 other public areas that need a lighting intervention. From these large-scale prototypes to some lower resolution ones. Maybe you think that prototyping should be in a designer's DNA. Well, through all these digital tools we now have, when new people come to my office, I see they straight jump to CAD or other 3D rendering software and lose touch with pens and paper. So when we got a question to design a system that shows the presence of a school, we could choose what and where and how. It was a listed monument, so there were some restrictions in how we would do this. We thought, let's just print it all out and work with pens and paper, and here you see our paper model. So it's just a picture with something sticked on. And it was really about thinking with our hands, about prototyping instead like as a brainstorming round. And with this, we way quicker found out how we could do this and actually discovered something more in the prototype. We saw how the light was falling on this folded element, and that made us decide on which material we were going to use. So prototypes are really valid to our design process. See here the result. Before it was a place which was always, which had a lot of graffiti. Now it is a part from the school that the students find interesting. It changes when you walk past. So you have this variation in the experience of the object on the facade. Generates curiosity. Offices. Yeah, you all must have heard how much digitalization is changing the way we work. Look here at the lighting. Yeah, in almost 50 years, there has been some technological advancement. Surely we moved away from fluorescent to LED lighting. We designed new materials. But really, in the way we do lighting for offices hasn't changed significantly. So when we got asked the question to design lighting for a cryptocurrency, like blockchain, co-working space, most likely it's going to be the first one in Europe, we thought that this was a chance for us to rethink the way we do lighting. Lighting in offices is very linked to building regulations and norms. The norms state how much light we need on a certain surface, on the floor, and forget that we have these lit screens. With these lit screens, we see often ourselves and the developers sit in darkness, because we don't want these reflections on our screen. Moreover, besides the glare, there is this other thing. We want a reduction of contrast to the surrounding. We want our eyes not to get tired so much from using these computers the whole day. So here is our prototype for one of the skyboxes, because we're dealing here with digital natives, digital nomads that travel everywhere, that have a team conversation over Skype or maybe a pitch to an investor. You don't want to have shadows on your face from your glasses. I was doing the test. You want to look good. You want to look trustworthy and fresh. All of these things. So we developed the system that is a backlighting screen or a backlighting system for your screens, lighting your face evenly, and at the same time reducing this contrast to the background. Thirdly, reducing the glare from maybe other sources in the surrounding. The end user can go in the skybox and adjust color temperature, cold or warm, according to the time of day, and adjust the intensity to their liking and to the brightness of their screen. This and many small interventions we are actually now realizing in this co-working space. And to convince the client, these prototypes were essential. First, of course, internally we had to check and verify that our ideas were actually working. But then secondly, the client here is not complying with building regulations. We're not going in line with the norms. And just for them to know that their investment is not a fail, we built loads and loads of mock-ups and let them, but also users and potential future users of the space test these solutions. Now, the architects we work with use a similar system. We use a similar system. I mean, I have a lot of confidence that prototypes make us therefore better designers. So design thinking works on many, many levels in our office. It's on the one hand the corporate culture, the mindset, the always questioning the status quo, looking for inspiration. It's about searching for a diverse team. I don't only work together with designers. They're doctors, they're engineers. I really get inspiration from the people I work with. It's about how we communicate. We make things very tangible. We externalize ideas, even if it's our agenda. On a project basis, it is involving the client and the stakeholders from the beginning. It are in-depth interviews. It is standing on the site, seeing what happens, and truly trying to understand what their reasons are and what they will need. It's about co-creation, through prototypes, to sketches. Sometimes I sit down together with them and make the sketch. I have loads of mock-ups as well, so I feel if light is so much about the experience, then I really think people should experience it to judge it. So this is how design thinking is for me a strategy, a mindset, and a process. I pick from it depending on the requirements of the process and of the challenge. And this is how I think design thinking made me a better lighting designer. Thank you.